The community has spoken. These are the worst Void Legendaries in the game. What's up, guys? It's Sam, the Raid Man. The community has spoken. These are the worst Void Legendaries in the game. If you guys are unfamiliar, you have not seen it on my community tab, we have been running polls. We're doing it faction by faction. Who is the worst Void Legendary in this faction? So in Bannerlords, I put out a poll. Who is the worst Void Legendary out of Raglin, Baron, Taras, or I think I put Quintus. Can't include all 5 of them because you can only put 4 options. But you guys voted. Let me pull up the poll. If you haven't seen these, you can still go get involved. Go to my community tab on Sam the Raid Man. Subscribe, obviously, if you haven't. You're going to see my most recent posts, and then we get to these polls. We're going to continue with the remaining factions. We have, we started over down here with the Bannerlords, and then we went all the way up here to the Orcs. So, firstly, I just want to go over each of the winners, or biggest losers, I guess, per faction, and see if I agree, if I disagree, and kind of why they're so bad. So, first one, who is the worst Void Legendary in the Bannerlord faction? Pretty clear-cut loser here. It was Raglin, 68%. Quintus got 22. Taras got 8. I think that's memes and or people wanting him to get nerfed. But Raglin got 68%, so let's pop over to Raglin and see why is she so bad. Void Legendary. A1 triple hitter. Fills the turn meter of 3 random allies by 15%. Allies can only have their turn meter filled once per turn, so you can't fill one champion's turn meter by 45%. It's okay. It makes it hard to speed tune, so you can't use her anywhere in speed tune content, but it's not bad. It's just not really anything special. For example, some people have an A1 that would fill everyone's turn meter by 15%. Anyways, A2, full cleanse, then heals. The heal amount is proportional to this champion's attack for some reason. That's super weird. She doesn't even have a high base attack. You don't really build her with attack because this is the only one that hits, so why would she ever have high attack? This is a cool ability, Miracle, 2 turn cooldown when booked, revives an ally with 75% HP and full turn meter. It's a good revive, it's only a single target revive. I honestly think you could make this revives all allies with 75% HP and full turn meter on a 3 turn cooldown maybe, and she'd be useful. That's a good buff. I don't think she'd be broken, so that's how far off she is. Is such a drastic change would not make her broken. This does not need to be proportional to her attack. That's just like, that almost seems like a bug. Why would that ever be the case? So yeah, Raglin, clear-cut loser. She's the worst. We know that. Let's close that. All right, next faction we have the Void Legendaries. This one was tied. One of the tightest ones we've had. Ethos, Bannerlord, Supreme Elhain, or Arbiter. It is between Bannerlord and Supreme Elhain, and this one is Supreme Elhain. And this is one of the tougher factions because they're all kind of solid. Bannerlord and Supreme Elhain are not bad. Supreme Elhain, I do agree, is the worst. I think the Bannerlord slander is out of hand. I think he's underrated. I just think you guys, maybe he's misunderstood, but he's a good champion. He's AoE decrease defense and weaken on a 3 turn cooldown. He nukes. He's got a crew rate aura. He's got a fun partner skill. He's got 2 really hard single target abilities. He's got a crew rate buff on his A1. He nukes. He's not that much worse than Ethos. I would argue maybe better than Ethos, but whatever. Supreme Elhain, why is she the worst? A1, attacks one enemy 2 times. Each hit transfers a random debuff from this champion to the target. That's super weird. When are you transferring debuffs? That's just random and niche, and she's an arena champion, and you shouldn't have debuffs many times. AoE, damage increases for 10% for each debuff on each target. This is good. That's a really good line to have included in the ability. Place decrease defense and weaken. Granted, we all know it's a polymorph meta, so it's hard to place debuffs, but when you do debuff them, that's good. Resets cooldown of the A3 if this attack kills an enemy. Her kit is cool. Her damage is just too low, basically. That's what I'll tell you. Crack shot. Attacks one enemy will ignore ally, protection, strengthen, and shield. Basically, we'll ignore Necret. That is what Necret does. If she kills somebody with this, she grants an extra turn. So you can do this, go into this, and then if you kill somebody with that, it resets the ability for this. Her kit is cool. If you up her damage by like 20%, let's say, she'll be a top arena nuker. She is good. She's just not amazing. And I think because she was a fusion, that puts her lower on people's list. I do agree. I think she is the worst in that faction, but it's close. This one was very surprising to me. Biggest loser in the Sacred Order. We have Sir Nicholas, Vitreous the Anointed, Supreme Aethel, and Constantine. Constantine got the respect he deserves. People like him, only 3%. Vitreous second or third worst, surprisingly there, than Sir Nicholas. Supreme Aethel with a whopping 60%. She is the worst. And this is another one I think I'm going to disagree. I have a hard time imagining that Vitreous is not the worst. He got buffed. He's got an insanely complicated kit, and everything I've seen about him is bad. I don't have him. Everything I've seen about him is bad. I do have Supreme Aethel. I just pulled her. Lucky me on my most recent Void Shard video. She's got some interesting stuff. She can increase her attack and decrease the champions or the enemy's attack. So like over a clan boss fight, I think she could stack her attack pretty high, 30% higher, and then lower the clan boss's attack 30% higher, 30% lower. She's got some cool free synergy. She's not great, but I will say attacks on enemies before attacking, 100% chance placing a freeze debuff for 1 turns. If there's enemies under freeze, you'll ignore defense, strengthen, ally protect, and unkillable. That's a 3-turn cooldown, 100% freeze. I don't think that's bad. I honestly think she's a little, I don't want to say underrated, because it is Void Legendary, so she's not great. But I don't think she's as bad as everyone says she is. Who is this? Why do I have a red dot here? That always bothers me. Glaceia. Okay. All right. So that one I think I got pretty hard to disagree with. I think it's Vitreous, but I do agree that those two are the worst, so we're not way off. This one was easy, I think. Barbarians, it's Ursuga. I'm very surprised by how much Yakaro got. I kind of think Yakaro is a better champion than Turvold. Don't roast me in the comments. We only have 4 options here. Turvold, amazing single target damage. To Hanorok, amazing support. She's like an upgraded Doom Priest. She's also can be a block buffer and Hydra and a cleanser. Really, really good champion. Yakaro is damage and AoE freeze and single target decrease speed. He is huge in my Fire Knight Hard team. I think he's huge in most people's Fire Knight Hard team. He's free to get, which I kind of think lowers people's expectations for him. But the fact that so many people, what was it, 20%, 30%? 30% of people voted that he's worse than Ursuga is crazy to me. What I imagine is it means a lot of people have him and they're like, he sucks. And they don't have Ursuga to realize that she sucks even more. She's just an ally protector, basically. She plays as ally protect. Her passive is an ally protect. She soaks up damage with that big old shield. And that's it. She's old school arena meta that's fallen out and has no use now. If you pull her, 90% of players will not benefit from using her. 10% of early game players will benefit from having a legendary with lots of health, and maybe with having an ally protector, and maybe being able to survive a nuke if your arena team goes second. But so bad in the end game. I have her. I never use her. Yakaro, I don't understand the slander, but whatever. Now this one, again, I kind of think I disagree. Ogren Tribes Edition. Gurgo, Grazur, Togron, Bellatar. Grazur for sure had to include him because we wanted 4. He's insane. He's amazing. Togron and Bellatar, I thought those were a little low. Gurgo, 69. Nice. 69% of people agreed. I don't know if I do. I just don't know if I do. This ability right here, 5-turn... Wait, nope, not this ability. This ability right here, 5-turn books to 4-turn cooldown, removes 2 random buffs, so not just 1, but 2. 100% chance placing a freeze, grants an extra turn. So it's a 4-turn cooldown, when booked, turns to a 3-turn because he gets an extra turn. Buff strip and freeze. He then hits hard on this one, places an extra if they have freeze, places an extra if he has freeze. 50% of placing a freeze on the attacker if he loses more than 20% max HP. This is good. This is an amazing skill. He's one-dimensional also, though. Can we just say for a second, he's one of my favorite-looking champions of the game. I love it. I love the big old mallet. I love the ice with the little glyphs and stuff. Love it. I agree. He's old school. He probably needs a buff. I don't think he's that bad. Togron and Bellatar, I mean, you got to revive. He's buffing everyone. That's nice. I mean, I guess it's more, you can use him in more areas. Buff spread. Just weird. heal, increase speed, continuous heal, full cleanse. I mean, he's better, I guess. To me, it's just sad because those guys are like weird, but I guess better. I like Gurgo, is what I'm saying. I'm not saying I disagree. Whatever. You guys are right. I'm wrong. I just like Gurgo. All right, this one pretty cut and dry. Void Legendaries of the Lizardmen. Chris, obviously not one of the worst. So Foyern, obviously not one of the worst. Ramonto, I thought would get a little more votes. He's not one of the worst, but he's pretty much just Arena. There's how many other places you'd use him? I guess you can use him in like Cursed City or Doom Tower if you're fighting somebody with really annoying passives. Yeah, but Polymorph kind of just ruined him. But Chor, I do think, is definitely the worst. Chor, not necessarily a bad champion. I got a lot of comments. I think the Lizardman one probably got my most comments because they're like, it's Chor, but he's actually kind of cool. Sleep on the A1, AoE poison, decrease defense. Tax one enemy, ignore some of these buffs. Grants next turn if he kills an enemy. And then, yeah, it's very interesting. This is the cool part. Instantly attacks enemies with default skill whenever they receive damage from poison debuffs placed by this champion. When hitting enemies under poison debuffs, heals the champion by 10%, so he can do some self-healing. Basically, if you can place poisons placed by him, so if you want to open with this ability, if you go first, you open with this. Whenever they take a turn, they'll take the damage. He will go in and he'll do his little sleep ability on the A1, and he can sleep them, stop them from taking a turn. He's very cool. Honestly, if I had him, I would build him super unique. I think he's got like one of the better designed kits inside the game, but he's just not as good as the other ones. He has the unfortunate, circumstances of being in a faction with really, really good Void Legendaries. Exact same thing, part A, part B with Chor as with Khora. Khora is great, but overwhelmingly, he was the worst. Leorius, no. I mean, he's super cool, super fun, amazing arena. Marius, I thought would get a few more votes, but I think people are excited to get him. Enemy max HP on an AoE is exciting, so I thought he'd get a little more votes. He didn't. Tunisia is amazing, insane nuker, HP burner, stunner, really, really good. Khora is good, but like I just said, he's just not good enough. Not with everyone else that's in the faction with him. He's got AoEs on all of his abilities. Decreases turn meter. He's got some Manaya boost if they're on the same team, which you almost never would run them on the same team, really. AoE Provoke. I like this one. 3-turn cooldown. Places block debuffs. Increase defense on himself. Removes all debuffs from this champion before placing that if Manaya is on the same team, which you can ignore, basically. So basically, he's going to provoke everyone and then make himself tankier. And then AoE decrease defense and decrease attack, which is really good. Damage based on HP. He hits pretty hard. This is a really cool passive, really annoying when you're playing against him. Counterattacks when hit by enemies under decreased attack, decreased defense, or decreased speed. If Manaya is on the same team, he always counterattacks. He doesn't really need Manaya for that because everyone should be under one, if not multiple of those debuffs. So he should always counterattack, which is cool. And if he kills an enemy, he places increased defense on everybody. So I really think Khora is really, really good, actually. I would love to have one and build one. I think he's actually pretty exciting. I don't have any of these Void Legendaries. I'll get Marius eventually. I'm actually not that far off. I'm in the last set of missions. But yeah, Khora, it's just tough when you're in the faction with everyone else who is better than you. All right, and the last faction we've got today is Orcs, and I think this one, again, is pretty cut and dry. It's not Warlord. He's a god of arena. It is Angar. It's not Raka, who's really good support, and it's not Supreme Gallic, who is top 5 Hydra champion. He's so good. So it is Angar. Why is it Angar, who just got buffed? Attacks one enemy, places an extra hit if the enemy is under provoke, HP based, AoE provoke, 3-turn cooldown, 75% chance of placing a provoke for 2 turns, then places reflect damage on all allies, counterattack on himself, can make him a mischief target, he can be your provoker on the team. If an enemy with a provoke debuff attacks his champion, 40% chance of replacing it with another provoke. Also has a 90% chance of placing decreased attack on an enemy for 1 turn when an enemy under provoke debuff attacks an ally. Each hit taken will reduce damage taken by 5%, up to 30% in 1 round. He's honestly cool. He is. He's one of the best provokers in the game. That's just kind of all he does. If you turned like the A1 into an HP burn, or added HP burn to this, or a third ability that could place HP burn, he would be an amazing Hydra champion. or block buffs. If this was provoke and block buffs, there you go. He's in so many people's Hydra team that have him. He just needs a little more, and Hydra's really the only place you need that level of provoking, or I guess the Magma Dragon. All right, if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel, like the video. By the time I post this, we should have the Demon Spawn one out. Go ahead and put your votes in for, of the 2 options we have, funnily enough, who's the worst. And then I will make a recap video for all 15 factions once we have the polls up. And then it's on to the next set of polls to hear you guys' opinions. I really enjoyed doing this. I really enjoyed interacting with y'all. Make sure you get involved. And I'll see y'all on the next one.